Before we move on and add floors, let's take a look at a couple of our 3D view tools. We've already used the full camera tool. The floor camera tool is similar. If you take a picture from the inside of a room, it'll see only what's on this floor. So if you take a picture looking up a stairway, you won't see anything above the first floor. The third tool is your perspective full overview. This camera is a little bit different. If I click on this camera, Chief will automatically place the camera for me. And if I go back to the floor plan and fill the window, you can see the camera has been placed outside of the building and the focal point's right in the center of the building. Another perspective tool is your perspective floor overview. This is sort of a dollhouse view. You can look down into your building from the top. It simply removes the ceiling planes. I'll go ahead and zoom in here using my zoom area tool. And then let's take a look at a similar tool under the orthographic view tools. In the orthographic view tools, you have cross-sections, backclipped cross-sections, and wall elevations. We'll take a closer look at these as we proceed. But here you have the orthographic full overview, which, like the perspective full overview, places the camera outside of the building, places the focal point in the center, but this one is orthographic instead of perspective. The orthographic floor overview is similar. And you can see the difference between the two. The orthographic floor overview is scalable. In other words, if I go back to the perspective full overview, the perspective full overview sees the building the way your eye sees it. The walls far away from you look small, and the walls up close to you look taller. If we take a look again at that orthographic floor overview, in this camera view, the walls are scalable. The walls far away are the same size as the walls up close. Although they look taller, that's because this is not the way your eye sees objects. It's an optical illusion. The other thing you'll notice is that in the orthographic floor overview, you're seeing the pattern and color properties of the materials. In the perspective floor overview, you're seeing the texture of the materials. We'll talk more about the properties of these materials a little bit later. But what these cameras are doing is using a render technique. You can change the render technique if you go to your toolbar, and here you can see that you have your standard render technique. That will see the texture properties of the material. If you go to the vector view render technique, it will see the color and pattern properties of the materials. You also have others, like the glass house. This will render all of the materials as transparent. You also have duotone, as well as technical illustration, and the paint render technique, and the watercolor render technique. You also have one called line drawing. We'll go back to the watercolor technique, and then we'll edit this. I'll go here to Technique Options and edit this rendering. With this watercolor rendering, I'll add a line drawing on top. This rendering could be used now for presentation drawings for your clients. You may want to explore all of those render options in that dialog. I'll go ahead and close these views. Fill the window with the building. And here I'm going to go ahead and close my library browser. And you can always reopen your library browser by clicking on your library browser button here at the top. Now let's add a second floor. We'll go up here to our Floor Tools parent tool. And again, you can always find all of your tools in your drop-down toolbars. If we go to Build and down to Floor, we'll find our floor tools. But I'll go back to the Floor Tools parent tool. And in the Floor Tools parent tool, you have the Add Additional Floor, Insert a New Floor, Delete the Current Floor, Exchange with the floor above or the floor below, Build the Foundation, Create a hole in the floor platform or the ceiling platform, Create a floor material region, or Rebuild walls, floors, and ceilings. We'll start here by building a new floor. When you click on the Build New Floor button, you'll get the New Floor dialog. You have two options. You can derive the second floor from the first floor plan, which means Chief will take all of the perimeter walls straight up and form a second floor. or you can make a new blank second floor and then draw in the walls where you want them. For now, I'll just derive the second floor from the first floor plan and click OK. When you build a new floor, you'll set up the defaults for that second floor. When we initially set up floor defaults, it was for the first floor only. Here in the second floor defaults, you'll set the ceiling heights. You'll also determine if you want a roof over this entire second floor and or a flat ceiling over this entire room. You'll also set up the ceiling structure, ceiling finish, and floor structure. Right now they're following a default. The default that they're following are the initial normal room defaults that we set up before we began. And you'll notice here that the rough ceiling E under relative heights is set for 97 1/8 inches. Ceiling B is set at 218 1/4 inches. That's because this is the absolute elevation. This number is 218 inches from absolute zero, which is the first floor platform level. I'll go ahead and click OK here, and we've now built our second floor. In your toolbar here at the top, you have your floor level indicator. You can see here that we're on the second floor. You can move between floor levels by clicking on the down button to go down or the up button to go up to the next floor. On our second floor level, we have our perimeter walls. If we go to our perspective full overview, you can see now that we have a second floor built above our first. Once you've built the second floor, you can edit the walls that you've created and draw in new walls. So here, I'll select this wall and drag it back to snap to this wall. So I've just removed the second floor over that small part of the building. And then I'll do the same thing here. We'll simply drag this back. It'll snap right to this intersection. You can see that red X snap indicator. And then we'll take a look again at your perspective full overview. So now we have the second floor over only part of the building. I'll go back to the floor plan view and we'll take a look at one more tool. When you're working with multiple levels, you can always use your reference floor display. When you click on this, the walls on the floor below you or the floor above you will be displayed in red lines. But you can't edit or change any of these red lines. They're only there for reference. If you want walls on the second floor to align with the first floor walls, you can snap to the red lines and draw directly over these walls. Once you've drawn a wall that aligns with a wall below it or above it, there are a couple of things that will indicate if that wall is perfectly aligned. First of all, you'll notice, if I zoom in here, that the line indicating my wall finish has turned to an aqua color instead of red. That's one indicator that your wall is probably aligned. But if I select this wall and move it just slightly out of alignment with the wall below it, and I click on that wall, you'll notice here in your Edit toolbar your Align with Wall Below tool. If you have stacked walls and they're not perfectly aligned, if I click on this tool, two things happen. The tool disappears, and now the wall is perfectly aligned with the wall below it. The reference floor display is a toggle you can turn off and turn on. Now let's change this back so that this part of the second floor comes over this part. But first we'll take a floor overview. If I go to my camera tools and to my floor overview, we can look down into our building from the second floor. I'm going to go back to the floor plan view, and I want to break this wall, so I'll go to my Break Wall tool and click right in this intersection to break the wall. Then I'll select this wall and drag it right out over the top of this one. Make sure that that Align with Wall Below tool does not show up, and that will indicate that my walls are aligned. But remember that I need to fill in this area. If I go back to that floor overview, you can see now that I don't have a floor platform in this area. That's because the walls are not enclosed and can't define the room. So in the floor plan view, I'll simply select this wall and use my same wall type edit handle, the diamond here at the end, click and drag straight down. And you'll notice that my Align with Wall Below tool has appeared. So I want to click on it to make sure that that's aligned with the wall below it. I'll go ahead and turn off my reference display, and then we can go down to the first floor level, and I want to build a foundation under this building. So we'll go back to the Floor Tools parent tool. In essence, you're building another floor level when you build the foundation. Before you build the foundation, you'll want to assign room types, especially rooms like the garage room type, or porch or slab type rooms, because the foundation will build differently under that room type than it will under the other rooms. So here under our Floor Tools parent tool, we have Build Foundation. In the Build Foundation dialog, you have several different options. You can build stem walls with footings, or grade beams on piers, or a monolithic slab. We'll start here by building a monolithic slab. The slab thickness is set to be 4 inches. You can edit the default slab footing here, as well as the curb formed for the garage. You also have an option here to lower the garage floor. I'll go ahead and click OK here, and then close this floor overview and take a look at a perspective full overview. So now underneath my building, you can see that I have a solid slab floor. Let's take a look at this with another one of our orthographic view tools. I'll use the cross-section elevation tool. I'll place my cursor right in the middle of the room and click and drag a line straight up. Here you can see the cross-section of our building and the slab floor as it's formed. In the living area, I have a slab floor with a spread footing, and then the garage floor is dropped down a little bit and a little curb is formed around the perimeter. I'll go ahead and close that view and click Undo to remove the foundation. Then we'll go back to our floor tools and build a foundation again. This time we'll build it with grade beam on piers. I'll go ahead and accept all of the defaults and click OK. We'll derive the foundation from the first floor plan just like we did for the second floor and click OK. And we'll take a look again at a perspective full overview. We now have a building with grade beam and piers underneath it. You can explore many of these foundation options in additional online training videos. I'll go ahead and undo again to remove the foundation, and we'll build it one more time. This time we'll use walls with footings, and here we'll go ahead and accept the 37.5-inch minimum height for the stem walls. You can also edit the default stem wall. If I go here to wall types, you can see that the wall type it's using is an 8-inch concrete stem wall. This wall is one layer, 8 inches wide, of solid concrete. But if you're building your foundation with concrete block, you want to click on the drop down and select a different wall type. And again, you have options for how the foundation will build around the garage, including the height of the curb, or how far up the stem wall will go above the garage floor. I'll go ahead and click OK, derive the foundation from the first floor plan and click OK. We'll go back to our orthographic view tools. This time I'm going to use the Backclipped cross-section. And this time I'll place my cursor in the middle of the building, click where I want to place the camera and drag out to establish a focal point. This camera will essentially slice through the building and see only between the points where I've placed the camera and where I've released to establish my focal point. The only wall elevations you're going to see is anything within that distance. So here you can see that my garage floor is dropped down below my first floor. This space on your first floor level is where the framing will build. You've got stem walls underneath it and footings underneath the stem walls. I'll go back to the floor plan view and again undo the foundation and build it again. This time I want to form a basement underneath my first floor level. So I'll raise my minimum stem wall height to 100 inches. We'll accept all the other defaults and click OK. Derive it from the first floor plan and look again at a backclipped cross-section. So now you can see that my stem walls are much taller and I have space now for a basement underneath my house. One of the things that Chief will do automatically is if your stem wall is more than 48 inches tall, Chief will automatically place a slab floor underneath it. But you'll notice that there's no basement built underneath the garage. When I built my foundation, I changed the stem wall height to 100 inches. That's to allow for an 8-foot ceiling height. The 100 inches will allow for 96 inches from the top of the stem wall down to the foundation floor, and then add 4 inches for the space for the slab. Now what we need to do is add stairs to move from one level to the next. We're in the basement level, and we'll start here by creating a staircase that goes from the basement level up to the first floor. You'll always want to draw your stairs from the bottom up. To start with, I'll want to turn on my reference floor display. That will show me where the walls are on that first floor level. I'll be creating an L-shaped staircase that goes up in this direction in this area. However, to begin with, let's just take a look at our stair tools. I'll click on the Stair Tools parent tool and use the Straight Stair tool. This tool works a couple of different ways. If I click once in the middle of a room, Chief will automatically create one staircase. It'll calculate the distance between the first floor level and the next floor level, and then divide that height into as close to 7-inch risers as it can. I'll double-click here on this staircase to open up the interior staircase specification, and we have some very important information here. The staircase reaches the next level, and for the best fit riser height of 6 3/4 inches, it will require 16 total risers, or 15 treads. Right now the treads and risers are both automatically calculated, as indicated by the button next to automatic treads and automatic heights. You can edit the tread depth, the number of treads, and the height of the staircase. If you click on either Lock Tread Depth or Lock Number of Treads, that will allow me to make some changes in these fields. For instance, if I want to have only 13 treads, as soon as I change that number, you'll notice that the riser height will change as well. I now have 7 3/4 inch risers. It's still automatically calculating for the height. And the staircase information says steep staircase reaches the next level. I'll go ahead and click OK here, and then move the staircase over a bit and take a look at this with a camera view. As you can see, that staircase goes all the way up to the ceiling. However, we'll need to open up that floor platform above for access into the next level. One way to do this is to select the stairs either in camera view or in your floor plan view, and you get your Stairs Edit toolbar down here at the bottom. One of the tools is the Auto Stairwell. When I click on this tool, you can see that the floor platform above has opened up. And if I go to the floor plan and go up one level to the first floor level, I'm going to turn off my reference floor display here and again take a camera view. Not only has Chief opened up the floor platform where the staircase comes up, but it has also surrounded the area with railings and then put an opening in the railing at the top of the stairs. I'll close this camera view, and here we'll click where we can see the stairwell. The stairwell area is actually a room. The railings provide the walls that define this room separate from the living room. If I use my Open Object tool and open up this room, you can see that Chief has automatically assigned the Open Below Room type. The Open Below Room type, if you go to the Structure panel, has the floor under this room unchecked here in this box to remove that floor platform. I'll go ahead and delete these railings and then go back down to the staircase below and delete. And then we'll go ahead and close that camera view. Another way that the Straight Stair tool works is the click and drag method. This is useful if you're drawing a U-shaped stair or an L-shaped stair. To draw a U-shaped stair, I'll click and drag treads and count the treads as I'm dragging the center line of my stairs. If I need 16 treads, I'll count 8. And then I'll align with this corner, move straight over to the right, making sure that I have that blue alignment indicator, and then click where the middle tread of the next section of stairs wants to start, and drag in the opposite direction. Now we'll take a camera view of this, and you can see that I have two stair sections, but they're both sitting on the floor. We'll need to connect this with a landing. So I'll go back to the floor plan view and activate that Straight Stair tool again. I can simply click where the landing needs to form to join these two stair sections. We'll go back to the camera view, and you can see now that the landing has formed and joined the two stair sections so that they go all the way up to the second floor. I'll double-click here on the stairs to make sure that my number of treads and riser height is correct. I've actually made it a little shallow, so I'm going to lock the number of treads and change treads to 7 on each stair section. When I hit my Tab key, you can see that the riser height is now 6 3/4 inches. Anytime you're changing a value in one of the dialog boxes, it's always a good idea to hit the Tab key afterward before you hit the OK key, so that the other fields will update accordingly and you can make sure that you're getting the result you expected. Now that the number of treads is changed and the riser height is correct, I'm going to go ahead and lock the tread depth and click OK. The other way to edit your staircase is to use the edit handles. You can use the side edit handles to change the width of your staircase. You can use the end edit handles to lengthen or shorten the staircase. For instance, if I want this stair section to be only 5 risers and this one to be 9 risers, I can simply use the edit handles to lengthen and shorten. Back in the camera view, you can see that the height of the landing has automatically adjusted to meet those stairs. I'll go ahead and close this camera view and erase this staircase. And here I want to create an L-shaped staircase in this corner, but I'll need to know where my walls are on the next floor. So I'll use my reference display, and I can see now that I want my staircase to go up into this corner. But first I want to draw an interior wall that aligns with the wall above here. Now I want my staircase to be enclosed in walls shaped just like the ones on the second floor. So here, with my reference display active, I'll select this wall, use the same wall type edit handle, drag a wall down this direction, drag another one in this direction, and another one in this direction. Now I want to draw 2 stair sections. So I'll go to my Stair Tools parent tool, and inside of this wall I want to click and drag 4 risers. Inside of this area I want to click and drag 9 risers. Now I want to make sure that these stair sections are enclosed inside of the walls and that the treads are the right size. So first of all, I'll select this stair section, use the side edit handle and make it narrower than the space, and then click and drag it and bump it right up against the face of the finish of the wall. Now I'll double click on the stair section and make sure that the tread depth and the riser height are exactly what I want. I'll click on Lock Tread Depth and change the tread depth here to 10 inches. Then I'll want to move the stair section into place. So I'll select the stair section and then use the point-to-point move tool. The point-to-point move tool will allow you 2 clicks to move this object into place. The first click is where you're going to move it from. I want this to move from this corner, so I'll snap right to that corner, to the corner of the wall. I'll click again where I want to move it to. Now I'll select this stair section, make it narrow, and then drag it right out to the face of my stem wall. And this one too, I want to double click on and make sure that the tread depth is what I need. Lock the tread depth, change it to 10, and then move it into position using the point-to-point move tool. Move it from here to this corner. Now I'll need to form the landing. So I'll go to my Stair Tool parent tool and activate the Straight Stair tool and click where I want the landing to form. Now we'll take a look at this with a floor overview. And you can see that I have my L-shaped stairs enclosed in the walls. I'll go ahead and turn off my reference display and go back up to the first floor level. Up on the first floor level, I know that this space is going to be my stairwell. I'll turn on reference display again so I can see exactly where my staircase starts and ends. I'll need to add one more wall to define this area as a separate room. So I'm going to use an invisible wall. We'll go up to the Wall Tools parent tool and use the Room Divider. The Room Divider is a zero-width wall that's invisible. I'll draw this room divider so that it's aligned with the bottom tread of my staircase. Now this area is defined as a separate room from this area. I'll double click in here, click on the drop down, and use the Open Below room type. Again, in the Structure panel, that removes the floor platform under this room. I'm going to uncheck Show Room Label and click OK. And I can see here that I want my basement stairs to come right to this wall. So we'll go back down to the basement floor level and extend this so I have one more tread at the top. If I double click again on this staircase, I can make sure that my tread depth is proper and that my riser height looks good. Go ahead and click OK. Now we'll add a staircase to the next floor up. Now the stair on the second floor wants to be a little bit different. I want the stairs to be wider to come out over the top of these two walls. And the ceiling height on the first floor is higher than it is in the basement. So for clarity's sake, what I want to do is select this open below room that we've created. And I'm going to just assign the unspecified room type so that we can't see the stairs on that basement level, just for clarity. And then we need to create our second staircase. I'll go to my straight stair tool and start a stair section here, and then I'll double click on this stair section to get the information about how many risers we'll need. For the best fit riser height of 6 3/4 inches, I need 18 total risers, or 17 treads. So again, I'll go ahead and lock the tread depth and leave it right at 10.5 inches. That's exactly what I want. Then we'll go ahead and bump this set of stairs right up against the wall, and then I'll want to widen this out to come right over the top of this wall and snap to the outside of the wall. Now the wall is tucked completely underneath these stairs. Then I'll need to lengthen it because I need a few more treads. I need 9 risers and 8 treads. Now that I have 9 risers, I'll create my second stair section. I'll go back to the straight stair tools and create another one right here, going right out to this wall. I'll narrow this one down and then make sure it bumps and stops on the inside of that wall, and then take this one out to bump and stop right at the outside of this wall. Then again, I'll double click on this stair section, lock the tread depth, and change the tread depth to 10.5 inches. Hit my tab key and click OK. And we'll take this out one more tread. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the landing here. When I add the landing, notice that it moved this stair section. I don't want this stair section to move, so I'm going to move this right back to the wall. And then I can edit my landing, just drag that right up to the first step. Now I'll double click on the stairs to make sure that all of my numbers are correct. This is a little bit shallow, so I think I can do with one less tread at the bottom. That'll give me a little more room in the entry. So now I have 8 treads at the bottom, 8 treads at the top, and my riser height is 6 3/4 inches. I'll go ahead and click OK here, and then we'll take a camera view of this. Now the next thing we need to do is create our stairwell. However, when I go back up to the second floor, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my reference display. Instead of having just the area over the stairs as a stairwell, I want this entire area to be an open below room. What I want to use here is railings, so I'll go to the Railing Tool Parent Tool and use the Straight Railing Tool. And then I want to start my railing here on this corner. Click and drag a railing all the way up to the outside edge of the stairs, and then another one in this direction. And then select my railing and make sure they're aligned with the walls below. This one, with the aqua lines, is already aligned. And I'll go ahead and turn off the reference display here, and notice this. Chief has automatically put an opening right here. It's anticipating what I'm going to do with this room. Now when I click in this room, I'll double click, click on the drop down, and make this an open below room type. And then we'll take a look with a floor overview. So there's my open below room looking right down into my entryway. Go ahead and close this camera view. Then we'll fill the window with the building. Now let's move on and work on some roofs and dormers.